Good evening. My name is Kayleigh Wood. Laughter bursts from my friends, and I grimace as I attempt to fumble my chopsticks into a feasible position to actually pick food up long enough for it to get to my mouth. My Chinese teacher is trying to stop grinning at my failure from across the table as she holds her chopsticks with impossible perfection that mocks my American inability. After at least 2 more minutes of failure, I finally clamp my hand into a position that will allow food to travel to my mouth more than one bite at a time. Excited and quite triumphant, I smile proudly and look up at my classmates. "You know," one of my friends says with a grin and a glance at my hand, "they say the further away from the tip you hold your chopsticks, the further away from home you move away." I look down at his hand, holding his own chopsticks with perfect ease, mere millimeters from the end, as far away from the tip as possible, and then glance down at my own fingers, clamped so close to the tip, you can't even see where the wood hits the food. I indignantly attempt to move my fingers further away from the tip, sure that I'll be moving further than the living room of my parents' house. But my hand refuses to cooperate, and I'm forced to accept the humiliating fact that I will never go further than my front door. I've never really moved at all in my entire life. In fact, I've been a Principian for literally all of it. As a Prin lifer, I had decided the moment I entered high school that there was no way I was going to stay in Misery, Missouri for the rest of my life. I just had to leave. Immediately, when the first chance to get out emerged, I pounced on it. This chance was college applications. My first round took me to the in-state tuition colleges around the Midwest, anything from 1 to 3 hours away. But right when these were starting to look slightly promising, the chopstick prediction came up and reminded me of my desire to get out. Quite quickly, I realized all of these colleges would put me as close to home as possible, and I did not want to give in to those chopsticks. Stubbornly, I trashed all those choices and moved on to the much more promising Eastern schools. My hopes and expectations for success were through the ceiling. But slowly, school after school, visit after visit, no spark was found. Finally, so completely desperate to find my right place, at our last stop at Williams, I convinced myself I'd found my match. Triumphant and confident, I returned home and prepared to apply. But as I was researching all the information, the cost reared its ugly head, sunk my spirits, and I was forced to mostly stow away that idea. With Williams practically gone, I panicked. Now that my Eastern schools were trashed, where would I go? I did not want to give up my freshman dreams of escape, and more importantly, I refused to give in to the chopsticks. For months, I stubbornly insisted I'd find a way to get into Williams and be happy. As I continued my feeble preparations to apply to this school, new fears started appearing, and my resolve began to falter even more. I'd be so far away from my family that the cost of transportation would most certainly mean I'd almost never get to come home. But that was what I'd wanted, right? I didn't want to be stuck around my family my whole life, did I? That got me thinking. Next year, when I was away at college, what would I be missing? Who would tease my brothers about their first girlfriends or first dates? Who would be their big sister if I was so far away I couldn't visit? And more importantly, how long could my mom last as the only female in the house? Sure, I could call, but if I couldn't visit, it wouldn't be the same. I was stuck with a truly confounding predicament. Was I really willing to miss all that just to fulfill a stubborn wish I'd made before I truly understood? I couldn't miss that part of my family's lives, or my life, as it has been for the past 17 years. No, I decided nothing is worth missing being a part of my home. Immediately after this realization, I scratched Williams off my list for good and went back to local schools that still offered everything I wanted. I found more options that were a lot closer and much more convenient, letting me come home to be a part of my family for more than 3 weeks out of a year. Now, contrary to the fortune the chopsticks seemed to hold, This doesn't mean I'm never going to leave my front door. This realization meant that no matter where I was, it wasn't because I was trying to get away from home. It was because I still wanted to be a part of it. I can confidently say I will be leaving my parents' house next year, though it may not be as far as some of my classmates, or maybe I'll end up fulfilling the title of lifer. Regardless, I now know that no matter where I am, I will always come back home. So I suppose the chopsticks were right all along. I never will truly leave my home. But most importantly, I'm okay with that. Thank you.